Okay, so real quick, we're really just diving right in here. We'll get to the normal stuff in a second, but I pulled up your Star Wars ranking here,
I just put that together.
and you have Solo below Last Jedi.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Explain this to me, because I have different opinions. I honestly, we'll get to this in a later episode, but I love Last Jedi. Don't tell Darren.
Yeah.
And I also quite enjoy Solo, but that has nothing to do with here. I just know how much you hate Last Jedi, and I'm
Uh,
surprised to find a movie below it.
so just to do this quickly, Solo. So let me start with The Last Jedi. I hate The Last Jedi because I hate what it does to Star Wars canon. I hate what specifically my biggest issue is hands down what they did with Luke Skywalker. I think that is abysmal. But there are several other things. I hate the light speed, you know, taking out an entire fleet by just charging into them at light speed. That does so much wrong for Star Wars. I hate and I think this is universally agreed on, that nobody likes the Princess Leia pulling a Mary Poppins through
Yeah,
space.
it's a little out of nowhere.
That is absolutely awful. And there's a bunch of things. I don't like how Poe and Finn are completely sidelined, even though they're some of the most interesting characters. Um, there's a lot I just don't like about it. However, I will say its redeeming qualities is at the very least, it is a gorgeous movie.
Mhm.
And I have nothing but respect for the cinematography and visual effects team for that film because it's absolutely stunning. And I think if you, at its core, it's a pretty okay movie. At its core, if just the story, just the writing, I think it's pretty okay. Um, that, however, I cannot say the same about Solo.
That's
I
fair.
think I think Solo it's a really rough movie to sit through. I do not like the story. And you know, it's hard because I feel like what's his face, the main actor, he really did his best, but he's simply not Harrison Ford, and
Yeah.
no one ever will be. It's not his fault. It's just you can't make Han Solo without Harrison Ford, and uh, I also don't think Amelia Clark is a particularly good actress, and I think the best thing to come out of that is Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian. He was absolutely flawless, and I wish the entire movie was about him because holy cow, what a man! Like it just stole my heart. I adored him, but that's about all I can say for it. Um, and once again, I don't even think it's a great movie, but I also don't like what it does to Star Wars canon. I hate the droid that I don't remember the droid's name, but their droid companion sidekick
Mhm.
I thought was one of the most terribly written things in Star Wars. And then I hated especially how at the end they insert her into the Millennium Falcon and therefore implies later on that all the impressive maneuvers that is done in the Millennium Falcon throughout the original trilogy isn't just Han Solo's incredible flying. There's actually this AI programmed into the Millennium Falcon that is actually doing the one pulling off these maneuvers, and it's not about Han Solo's skill as a pilot. And I think that just really, really kills a lot for me. That just undermines Han Solo as a character. So anyway, I don't think it's a great movie, and I don't think it does anything good for Star Wars canon. Whereas at least The Last Jedi is very pretty, and I think objectively an okay movie.
Hmm.
So
Okay. Okay.
I said I'd make that quick, but anyway, so yeah, I upon reflection, I do think Solo is the worst Star Wars movie.
Huh. Okay, interesting. I still would give it to Attack of the Clones, but
Attack of the Clones is down there.
I can
I
just.
really like the Battle of Geonosis, and
That's true. Actually, I was gonna say maybe it's Rise of Skywalker. It's one of
yeah,
those two.
Rise of Skywalker. I think there's a valid argument for Rise of Skywalker. Any of those bottom three for me, Rise of Skywalker, Last Jedi, or Solo, I think those are pretty interchangeable.
Hmm. I think it might actually be Rise of. No, No, it's still Attack of the
See,
Clones.
yeah, I'd agree with you until that last third. I just think
Okay,
Count Dooku is one of the coolest Star Wars villains,
he is really cool.
and I think there's some great moments.
Fair enough.
But as a whole, I would agree.
Yeah, although that's fair. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm like, are there any really cool moments? There's a couple of fun moments at the very least in Rise of Skywalker. But yeah, I'm not as obliged to think of good moments
No,
in Rise of Skywalker.
no, I agree.
Rip.
That being said, welcome back
Hello.
to the
Yeah.
Electric Oofaloos. Let's get this started finally.
Yeah. We're back. We're back. I don't know if any of you guys were worried.
Yeah,
They
well,
were worried.
they were worried.
They were
I
worried.
think more than anything, they just missed us because I missed you.
And I missed you. I'm glad to be here
Me too.
today
Me
on
too.
this day of days.
And I am excited to get into this.
I
This is
am
something I'm
too.
really excited to talk about
Very good. Very good.
because unlike talking about Solo, we're actually going to be talking about some movies that we both adore.
Hey, well, I mean, I
That's
guess
the
that is true. Yeah.
and I'm just really excited to get into that.
Yeah. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Dominique Beltran, a different boy from when I last talked to you guys last week. Because last week, my life hadn't been changed by Taylor Swift's new album, and this week, my life has been changed by Taylor Swift's new album. So there's that.
That's true.
Yeah,
Changed man. What's your review of Taylor Swift?
it's so freaking good. Oh my gosh, I've listened to it enough that I don't think it's gonna break my top 3 favorite albums,
Sure.
but I think it's just outside it at number 4.
Wow.
It's really good. It's really
Like of all time?
no,
Or
just
just
of
Taylor
Taylor.
Swift albums? Just of Taylor. Okay.
But I
okay.
mean, most of my top 10 are Taylor Swift anyways, so
Yeah.
it's basically that.
Yeah.
There's
No, I
like
can
2 or 3 albums that would be above it.
exciting.
Yeah.
And I'm Duran Baron. I'm pretty much still the same. I haven't changed that much. So
You've seen Pierce Brosnan as
I
Dr.
have,
Fate,
and we're
though.
gonna get into that.
Oh, we're gonna get
that.
into it. I'm excited. So yeah, that's us. Let's just hop right in and go
Yeah.
with
Do we
movies
want to
we
just
watched.
do we just want to talk about Black Adam right
Yes,
now?
let's go
We
for
both
it.
saw Black
We
Adam,
both saw it.
and I and I find our reviews interesting because on Letterboxd, you gave it
I gave it 4 stars
4
and a
stars
heart.
and a heart. I gave it 2.5 stars and a heart.
Yep. And I think like the more I read it, I feel like we basically had the same feel about the movie.
I think so too.
Because
I think so too.
that's something I forgot to mention in my review was just how much I just did not like the kid character, because he, no offense to the kid character, but he couldn't act very well. And he was pretty annoying for the most part of the film, just so unnecessary feeling. But like as evidenced in my review, that just did not cross my mind when I was writing that review and the end credits were rolling.
Sure.
Like I was high off that movie's energy like nothing else.
And I agree that movie, if nothing else, had energy. It was a really hyped movie. And there's a lot I enjoyed about it. There was a lot about that movie that really worked for me. And I gotta say, the 3 standouts were Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam. I think he nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes without saying, Dr. Fate and Hawkman
I freaking loved
were
Hawkman.
incredible. I figured I'd enjoy Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate. Dr. Fate is one of my favorite DC characters. And so I was already expecting to like him. And I liked the look of Hawkman from the trailers.
Yeah.
But seeing him in action was absolutely incredible. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
seeing his chemistry with Dr. Fate.
Mm-hmm.
They worked so well together. I could have done with so much more of just them.
Oh, yeah.
I was head over heels for their performance, and I adored it.
Just a couple of dudes being bros.
Being bros. We love some good bros. Not the movie.
Uh, so I've heard. I haven't seen it
I
yet.
haven't seen it either. But
No one seemed to have liked it all that much. I don't know.
well,
I don't know. I haven't kept my ear to the ground on that one. But yeah, no, I don't know. It is kind of funny though. I just, as I mentioned in my review, it just reminded me so much of like watching X-Men 2, X-Men United, watching
yeah,
Daredevil 2003,
yeah,
watching those early 2000s superhero movies that I adore, and knowing that some of them, like Daredevil 2003, which we'll get to because it's on my list,
it is.
um, knowing that it's bad, like it's not a good movie, but still just having so much fun watching it was kind of the same here. I'd say it's arguably better than Daredevil as a film itself.
Mhm.
I just had such a blast watching it that I what can I say?
Absolutely. And and I think this is a good direction for DC movies to go. I'm wholeheartedly a DC fanboy. Um, I will choose DC over Marvel any day. Not their movies necessarily, but their characters. I am just, and one of the reasons is I love how absurdly powerful some of these DC characters are, and Black Adam 100% fits into that, where he is absurdly powerful, and I want to see these absurd powers on the screen. And I really appreciated how I don't feel like they nerfed or depowered these characters
Mm-mm.
at all. They were incredibly powerful. Their fights were grand and epic. And I feel like if nothing else, they buffed Hawkman to go toe
Yeah,
to toe
no,
with
I
Black
think
Adam.
so. Yeah.
And I am all in for that. And and that, even if it doesn't make a great story or anything, it is so much fun to watch that I can't help but be somewhat enamored with these grandiose fights.
Yeah, no, the fights were so freaking cool. And like 80% of it is just fighting. So I was here for it.
Yeah. So I but I stand by my review, 2.5 stars. The movie itself, I I feel like was somewhat factory produced and
Yeah.
poorly written, and I feel like they could have made a lot of changes that would have decreased the special effects budget and increased the script writing budget. And but it's enjoyable. It's worth a
Yeah,
watch. I hope we get an extended or director's cut at some point,
that would be cool.
because I would love to see more of what they had in mind. Some of these cutout scenes that I've been hearing about.
Hmm, intriguing. Yeah, no, I would too. And also, I was just glad. I was very pleased with myself that I was able to put a very recent and relative relevant Taylor
Relevant.
Swift lyric for the beginning of my
Yes,
review.
I that was quite impressive. The anti-hero one, yeah,
I was very proud of that.
as you should be. I think that was beautiful. I really did like your review,
Thank you.
and I
As
think
did I yours. But yeah, no, that end credit scene, we won't spoil it here, but freaking hype.
yeah, no joke. I'm excited for the future of DC. I think they've made a lot of strange decisions
Hmm.
recently, but I'm hoping that this hard reset button that they seem to be hitting on uh, the DC movies, I hope leads to something better.
Yeah.
And I don't need the movies to be great, but I need them to be better than what they have been.
Yeah.
So I hope it all leads to something good. And the end of Black Adam leaves me hopeful that we are going to get some good content.
I sincerely hope so. Because I'm definitely more of a Marvel person,
Sure.
but I also am a big fan of DC characters. And I think I could go as far as to say and agree with you that for the most part they are like more interesting and complex than the majority of Marvel characters, I think.
Mhm.
Which part of that is just because the MCU's become so ubiquitous that the characters are forced to follow in their footsteps instead of their own trajectories. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day.
Mhm.
I have big qualms with that though, because it's the reason Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the best animated TV show for superheroes like
Oof.
ever, got canceled and replaced with Avengers Assemble, and I'm still bitter about it.
As you should be.
Such a good show. Anyways, what else did you watch this week?
You know, I really didn't get around to watching a whole lot.
Yeah.
Which is kind of unfortunate. What did I watch? Oh, Trick or Treat Scooby Doo.
How was that?
It was pretty enjoyable.
Yeah.
I liked it. It wasn't anything groundbreaking or anything, but it was
sure.
you know,
Yeah.
it was Scooby Doo.
I mean, can you really go wrong with that?
No, it just really well. What I didn't like about it was that it felt like it was designed to be a sequel to the original series. And so if you watch the original Scooby-Doo, the Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of callbacks and a lot of Easter eggs, and it is set up to be a sequel to that. And I appreciated that.
Okay.
So most of it I feel like was just purely fan service. But it was fun fan service, and they put a lot of detail. A lot of the old school villains from Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Make an appearance in one way, shape, or form, and not just the monsters they are, but the characters under the masks. And so it's really funny because some of them are rather unique. And you'll look at them, you're like, oh my gosh, it's the guy from that one old episode of Scooby-Doo. So very subtle stuff like that I appreciated. A lot of detail. Yeah, it was fun. 3 stars on Letterboxd from me. Okay. Worth a watch, but it's not anything groundbreaking or anything new. Really, it's nothing new from Scooby-Doo. It's just more of what you like.
Nothing new from Scooby-Doo. Can that be like the next show?
The opposite of what's
new Scooby-Doo exactly?
Or rather the answer to it. Nothing's new Scooby-Doo.
Series. That would be pretty funny, actually.
That would be really funny. Yeah. So what about you, Dominic? What have you watched this week besides Black Adam?
So I finally got around to watching Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Yes.
And I apologize in my review too during here because I still have Young Frankenstein to go, but I just really don't like Mel Brooks comedies that much. They just aren't that funny to me. And this was another one. Leslie Nielsen was fantastic, as he is in basically everything. But he was like the only part I was really laughing at and that was mostly his like delivery,
Right.
But I feel bad, but
and I do think Young Frankenstein will be the exception for you.
Well, I started it last night, but then Ben and Joseph were like, yo, let's play video games. I'm like, I have a lot of homework, but sure.
How far in did you get?
Like, I got right up to when they're about to reanimate the monster. Awesome. So it hasn't been reanimated yet, but he's about to be.
And you have any thoughts so far?
I think Igor is really funny.
Igor is hilarious.
But that's about it.
Interesting.
But we'll see. We'll see when when I finally watch it, maybe tonight. After I get back. I don't know. We'll see.
No, I'm very curious. And I don't take offense. I can with Mel Brooks, I can understand. His humor is a bit out there. And I don't feel like everyone's going to take enjoyment from it. And I think that's totally fine. I just happen to be one of the people who, for the most part, really likes his humor.
Yeah.
And not all of his movies have hit with me. I thought History of the World Part 1 was fine. And I think High Anxiety was a wonderful love letter to Alfred Hitchcock. Um, but I didn't find it as amusing as some of his others.
Mm. Have you seen
It's
Dracula?
I haven't yet. That's one of the
Mm.
few I haven't. But Spaceballs, we won't get into it in this episode, is in
Oh,
my
we will next time. Yep.
top favorite movies. I adore Spaceballs.
Very good. Well, so yeah, there's that. And then as an apology, I watched Happy Halloween Scooby-Doo.
Which I'm excited to watch.
I enjoyed it. It's honestly surreal for the most part,
Awesome.
but I quite liked it. I mean, like I said in the review, freaking Bill Nye is like a main character in the show, and Scarecrow is one of the villains, who's my favorite DC supervillain. Like, I was being catered to, frankly.
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
So yeah, I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was slight, but it was fun. And then me and my roommate finally watched the last half hour of Beetlejuice. We watched the first hour Sunday after going to McMidnight, but I
Nice.
was falling asleep by the time 2 o'clock rolled around. So it was like, let's just finish it later. I'm like, okay. And then we didn't get around to it until Thursday afternoon. But yeah, no, my thoughts haven't changed. I still think it's really weird, but it's really funny. Kean is just absolutely incredible in it. And
Mhm.
the story is really good. The set's really good. It's enjoyable. I like it. I know a lot of people consider it their favorite Tim Burton film, and as we'll get into next week, again, that's not how I feel at all. But
Oh, I mean, I'll get into it this week.
it's good. It's good. You know,
Yeah.
it's enjoyable. And then yeah, Black Adam went out with my cousin opening night, and we had a blast. Continuing on this weird kind of really accidental Roald Dahl trip we've been on. But I
Oh yeah.
watched Matilda and thought it was fine, which I was a little disappointed by because Matilda is like my favorite Roald Dahl book. I loved it as a kid, but I don't know. I just didn't really like how it was shot and stuff, and I don't know. But the acting was really good. It was fine. I enjoyed it. And I mean, I've got to give props where props are due. I mean,
Sure.
Danny DeVito directed it, you know, like
Yeah, and I think you did a great job.
it was good stuff. And then we finally, after like 3 weeks of trying, went and saw Lyle Lyle Crocodile and had a fantastic time together. It's pretty basic, run of the mill. Uh, CGI animated character meets a kid and they become friends and they overcome their
Sure.
problems or whatever. But it was so much fun just seeing it in a theater with a whole bunch of other families. Of course, Eileen, who loves the crocodiles.
Yeah.
We had a great time.
Yeah. I know. So I may have to check that one out sometime.
It was really cute. Like we enjoyed ourselves for sure.
Awesome.
Yep. So yeah, I haven't seen a ton this week either, but
Yeah.
I'm hoping to get a bit more in this week
Yeah.
before Halloween. We're gonna go see Dawn of the Dead in 3D at our local
Oh,
theater,
awesome.
which I'm pretty excited about. And then I don't know what else I'm gonna watch. I'm probably gonna make my roommate watch Us with me because we will get to that one today,
Nice.
which is one of my favorite movies just ever. I adore Us. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm pretty excited because I think we're planning on watching Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness in its next few days, and I'm so hyped for that.
Very good.
So do we want to get into this, Dominique? Do we want to start tackling this beast?
Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very special treat. And that is today. Well, first, Stevie sends his regards. He is continually to call me. At least we're down to every other day. But now he just calls me.
Nice.
When are you gonna record a podcast? When are you gonna record the next episode? I'm like, Stevie, are you trying to get something? Do you want to be on the podcast? And he's like, yes. I'm like, well, that's too bad. We've got a list, and so you're gonna have to wait a little bit.
Yeah. No, we've got a full queue.
Yeah, and he didn't take that too well, and I felt kind of bad, but at the same time, he needs to stop calling me. So
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Thanks to your guys' generous donations at our OnlyFans and Patreon and change.org. We don't actually need to have a director spotlight today, which is good because we don't like sharing the spotlight with anyone.
No, we're quite selfish that way.
Uh-huh. And we have a lot to get to anyways.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna get down in with it.
So today we'd like to go through some of we both have our top 50 favorite movies of all time lists going on Letterboxd that you can check out. They're both public lists if you follow us and whatnot.
And if you aren't, why aren't you?
Why not? And so we're going to go ahead and start from the bottom. And we're going to work our way up. We're going to divide this into two parts. We're going to try to get about halfway through our lists. And then the next episode we'd like to record, we'll finish it off and we'll go into our top 25. And so today we're starting from the bottom, and Dominique doesn't have his list
I don't have it all the way to the 50.
all the way to 50. I do, but I may not by the end of this, and I want your opinion on some things.
Ooh,
So,
okay. Well then,
we'll
will
get to
you
that.
start us off?
Absolutely. So
Alright.
at the very bottom of my list, and is Kung Fury.
Which is a film I still have not seen.
It's about 30 minutes. It's a YouTube short, but it is one of the most off the wall love letters to 80s action flicks I've seen, and it's flawless. I don't know what else to say about it. If you haven't seen it already, you need to check it out because it's 30 minutes and it is well worth the watch. And it has David Hasselhoff. So,
and I mean, anything with David Hasselhoff is instantly a classic.
Absolutely.
Like Baywatch and
Yeah.
SpongeBob SquarePants the movie.
That was going to be my recommendation.
I mean, hey, SpongeBob SquarePants. Legitimately though, SpongeBob SquarePants the movie kind of rocks.
It absolutely does. The first SpongeBob movie is it is so fun. It is so good. All right. So do we want to get me up to 43? And then we start alternating.
I was thinking we could go in sets of 5.
Oh, in sets of 5.
You
I
do
like
5, it. And then you do the other 5. Or I could do my 3, and then you do your 5.
Okay. I like that. So at 50, Kung Fury. 49, I got Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Great film.
I love that one. Shaun of the Dead, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Which are all fantastic and hilarious films.
Absolutely, yes.
Shaun of the Dead and Ferris Bueller's Day Off especially are some of my favorite comedies.
I agree. And I think these are in a pretty good order. And as we're going about this, I will be talking about that. Like some sections of my list, I feel like are super just interchangeable. And for the most part, though, I think this one's pretty set. I might switch Ferris Bueller and Monty Python. I might boost Ferris Bueller. But other than that, a couple of great comedies. Close Encounters, Third Kind. I love aliens just in general. I love UFO stuff, and then Kung Fury. So I'm pretty happy with those. And
very good.
Yeah, I might switch Ferris Bueller, but we'll leave it be for now.
Very good, very good. Yeah, no, those are completely solid films, of which I've seen most of them. And I enjoy all 4 of the ones I've seen, especially Shaun of the Dead.
It's incredible.
It's really good. But Ferris Bueller's Day Off does have a soft spot in my heart for sure. Oh, hey, whoa. Side note, but the library, whatever it's called, or the computer version of this thing tells, whoa, this is wild. Okay. It shows me like what your ratings and reviews are on all of this. This is cool. Anyways, that's not important right now though. Okay. So yeah, as mentioned, I don't have a total 50. I used to, but then my OCD was like, man, that 2 extra movies are pretty annoying. I'm like, you're right. So I cut it down to 48. And then a couple of months ago, I was looking through it. I'm like, I don't feel as strongly about some of these movies anymore as I used to. And so I removed those ones too. So now I'm down to 43. So at 40, which still isn't an even number, I don't know why I let that slide, but whatever, here we are. But coming in at 43, as mentioned, is Daredevil 2003. It's at 2 stars, but it's got a heart because I know it's bad. Listen, I get that it's bad. I understand that. But I've just always had such a soft spot for this film. I adore it with all my heart. And yeah, I love it. I've loved it for a very long time. And it rocks. At 42, we got Dune 2021, which is just, do I even need to explain? Like, do I?
What?
You know what I'm saying?
No, I totally get it. Dune is way higher for me, and as someone who loves Dune, you do not have to explain. It is just, it's flawless.
It's so good. I'm still upset we have like over a year to wait until Dune 2.
Ugh, don't remind me.
It's fine. And then at 41, we got Us, which is the first horror movie I watched and decided, hey, horror is actually kind of cool. And so I watch it at least once every year, if not more than that. I probably watch it more than a number of the movies that are higher up on the list just because
Sure.
I just enjoy it so much and want other people to enjoy it as well. So I've shown it to a lot of people over the years. So yeah, Us is freaking amazing. Y'all should go check it out if you hadn't. It freaking bangs.
Nice. Yeah, I've yet to see Us. I haven't seen any of the Jordan Peele movies yet. I've been meaning to. I just
You
haven't gotten
really
around to it.
should.
No. For nothing but good things.
It's incredible. It's my favorite. Nope is also very good. Go watch Nope. But yeah, no, Us is incredible.
All right. Should I move into my next 5?
Yeah.
So, following that, 45, I've got Mystery Science Theater 3000, the movie.
Which I've never seen.
Mystery Science Theater is just one of my favorite shows of all
No,
time.
it rocks.
And the movie is just more of that with a little bit more structure outside of the movie they're watching itself.
Okay.
Not a whole lot, but it's just a longer episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000. And I think it's incredible. I love it. Joss Whedon's Much Ado About Nothing at 44.
It's so good.
It is so good. And this is one of the first times that I really started to appreciate Shakespeare. I have a lot of feelings on Shakespeare. But this movie really made me realize that there's a lot about Shakespeare I really like. And Nathan Fillion is incredible as the comic relief Dogberry.
Yep. And we'll get to this in a second, but this is the first movie, spoiler alert, that we have on both of our lists.
Yes, this is.
So we'll get
That's
to that.
Exciting.
We'll get that one.
We've got a few more coming up.
Yeah, there's a number of them on here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then Galaxy Quest. I've been saying that a lot. The love letter to Star Trek.
It's so fun.
I just love this movie. It's funny. It's good. I don't know. It's great. Then another one we have on both of our lists, I believe, Emperor's New Groove.
We do. I was a little impressed at how low it is, but that's okay.
It's hard. It's really, really hard because really, I don't know. I'll try to explain that later. But yes, Emperor's New Groove. We both adore that movie. Yes. And then Raiders of the Lost Ark,
which is so good. And when I saw that, I considered like that one should probably be on here.
We'll get to this, but that's not my favorite Indiana Jones movie.
I noticed that, which honestly surprised me because maybe not surprised me, but I was a little surprised.
Yeah.
'cause, I mean, they're all great, but
Yeah. No, I agree.
all three
There
of
are
them are fantastic.
all three of them. Exactly.
The upcoming fourth one might be good. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's still
Um, so Emperor's New Groove. So a way I went about this is I threw a bunch of my movies on there that I really liked, and then I went through and compared whatever they were directly next to. And I said, would I rather watch this or this? And
Mhm.
most of it was just based on mood.
Yeah, no.
Because really, Emperor's New Groove is one of those where if I'm in the mood, this is going to go from 42 up into my top 10 to top 20. But it depends on the mood. And so at the time where I added that, I went through and I put it above Galaxy Quest. But when I compared it with Raiders, I decided that at the time I was probably more in the mood for Raiders. But that one is more flexible, more liquid than any of the others. It can really flow almost anywhere on this list at any point in time. And there's a couple movies like that where I feel like could be safely put at almost any point in this list and it would still be accurate. And Emperor's New Groove is one of them. It just happens to be at 42 right now.
I mean, that's fair. That makes sense. That's kind of what I did with my list too. So I understand. That is fair. Yeah, no, well, yeah, we'll get to it when we get up there. But yeah, Much Ado About Nothing is so freaking good.
It's absolutely phenomenal. If you haven't seen it, Joss Whedon's Much Ado About Nothing is a modern retelling. Yeah, I don't know. It's a modern setting with the original Shakespearean script. Something that I feel like almost any other director would have really, really struggled with.
Yes.
But for some reason, Joss Whedon pulled it off with an all-star cast. It's black and white, which I adore, and some really great music. It has a lot of charm, and a lot of the actors understand Shakespeare, and that makes or breaks anything Shakespearean. Because if the actors don't know what they're saying, you're not going to know. And it is obvious that all the actors in this know exactly what emotions they are getting across, and it works.
For real. Plus, as an added bonus, I had a big crush on Amy Acker at the time.
Oh, sure.
So, yeah. Anyways.
Added bonus.
Added bonus for young, like 15, 16-year-old me.
Nice. Yeah, so we would have seen it about the same time.
Hey, it's definitely my favorite one. It's the one that I like the most that it's on both of our lists because it's the one I'm most surprised that's on both of our lists.
Right. It's a very odd one.
It's a very like small film and stuff.
You want to go for your next 5?
Yeah. All right. So at 40, we got All About Eve, which is just hands down one of the best films I've ever seen. It's hard for me to describe just how absolutely incredible of an acting and writing powerhouse All About Eve is. Like, really, if you haven't seen it, just check it out. Like, I'm not much for the whole like, oh, well, if it's an old movie, it's bad, or if it's an old movie, it's good, you know.
It's a classic.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm not for either of those. But oh my goodness, All About Eve is incredible. I don't even know why I decided to watch it. I think I just picked it up at the library one day and watched it with my mom while we were doing laundry. And little did I know my entire life would just be changed. Incredible film, highly recommended. After that, we got Iron Giant, which if you haven't seen the Iron Giant, what are you doing?
And how's not having depression going?
How's not meeting with the counselor every week happening for you? Yeah, no, that's fair. For real, that movie messes me. Oh gosh.
Beautiful
it's
movie.
Fine. It's fine. Great film though. It's so freaking good. And then we have my second more oddball pick of this list with Step Brother. look, okay. For those of
There
you
was
that haven't seen Step Brothers, what were you gonna say?
no, I was just saying there's nothing wrong with this. I do not see anything wrong with adding Step Brothers to this list.
It's just so freaking. It's a hard tie between Step Brothers and Naked Gun, and while I adore Naked Gun.
I am interested. Naked Gun isn't even on your list, is
I
it?
know it probably should be, to be honest, but there's just something about Step Brothers that just slightly pushes it over the edge. I don't know what it is exactly, but it's just so funny. I love it. It's hilarious. It's there's it's such a wild product of the mid 2000s. But I
Absolutely.
don't really know how to describe it in any other way. Um and then we have maybe not a controversial choice, but it's a choice. We have Ant-Man the Wasp, which I've heard some people just really do not like. I don't understand that. I love
No,
Ant-Man the Wasp. Um, I don't know. It's one of my favorite Marvel movies. The more I think about it, the more I should probably have Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings on here
ooh,
because I adore Shang-Chi. Because I think I only have like 2 MCU films on here, just
right.
one of them and Ant-Man the Wasp. Shang-Chi will be on
Yeah,
here. I'll fix that. Yes.
I don't have any MCU movies on here, which I didn't realize until I was looking at yours and noticed you have two of them.
I do have 2 of them, and soon, like I said, to be 3.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
the more I think about it, the more I'm like, yeah, no, Shang-Chi should definitely be on here. It'll probably be somewhere down here with Ant-Man and the Wasp. So
Sure.
I'll put it in here just for fun. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, it rocks. It freaking rocks. It's so much fun. As is Ant-Man and the Wasp. I like the addition of Wasp. I like Ghost a ton.
I love Ghost, and it frustrates me beyond belief that we have to wait this long in order to get her back. Because
Yeah.
I think they should have brought her back way sooner.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think she's a really cool, interesting villain that they could have done a lot more with. Like at the very
Absolutely.
least, she has good like motive in the movie, which is always important.
Always.
And so that works well. But I think they could have like dived a bit deeper into that. I'm sad that they didn't. But I love Iron Man and the Wasp. It was the first movie I watched when I came home back in 2019 and or
Wow.
2018, 2019. Yep. I literally watched it the night I got back home. Like literally that night. I didn't want to be that person, but my dad was like, "Hey, want to watch Ant-Man and the Wasp?" It was my number one most wanted to watch movie when I got home. So I'm like,
Sure.
"You got me, all right." And then at 36 we have Baby Driver, which is just
That means Medgar,
such an
right?
incredible film.
Absolutely.
Baby Driver just rocks so much. It really speaks to my Beat Saber brain.
Absolutely.
So I adore it. It's very good.
Nice. No, solid picks. Solid picks. So continuing on with mine, at 40, I have The Adventures of Robin Hood, starring Errol Flynn.
Which I wanted to ask you about because I have no idea what this movie is.
It's Robin Hood.
Whoa.
Whoa. It's phenomenal. So this is a 1938 movie, and it has Errol Flynn and one of my favorite old actors, Basil Rathbone.
Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes, exactly. So I think this is the best retelling of Robin Hood. This is the best movie version of Robin Hood, hands down for me. I love the Disney version. I love Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Do you love the 2018 version
Uh,
a couple years
no.
ago?
No. But this is very accurate to the book, the feel. It's swashbuckling. It's great. It is a masterclass of old Hollywood adventure films, and I'd heartily recommend it, especially since it doesn't feel that old, especially since you can find it in color. It is a fully color Technicolor film, and Errol Flynn is such a charming man. He just oozes personality and charisma, and Robin Hood is just incredible, filled with one-liners and quips, and I just love it. It is such a fun little adventure flick, and I'd watch that any day.
Okay.
So I highly recommend it. Um, and then from there, Scooby Doo on Zombie Island. Once again, this is another very liquid one, specifically because this is one of the few movies on this list that I could legitimately just turn on at any time and be totally content. It is the best of the animated Scooby-Doo movies, and I'd just say I'd go as far to say it is the best of any Scooby-Doo. It's better than any episode that I've seen, any movie. It is everything Scooby-Doo should be, and should be the blueprint from Scooby-Doo going on.
Very good.
High praise, but I love it. And Willow at 38. Willow's iconic. It's a movie from my child. Well, I say from my childhood, but my mom loves this movie, and so I wasn't around when it came out, but I watched it a lot growing up, and it just still holds up. I rewatched it a couple weeks ago, and it's great. And Space Jam. Yeah.
As we've already
Yeah.
as we've already declared, the best film of the 90s, maybe of all time.
Of all time is Space Jam. I love Space Jam. What a product of the 90s. This movie could not have come out any other decade. It is so amusing, and it got such a banger soundtrack. I love the music from Space Jam. Absolutely. And Bill Murray
He's so good at it.
is one of my favorite Bill Murray roles. And Ghostbusters is on this list. So and then at 36, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, which is my favorite Indiana Jones movie. I can't explain why. I don't know if it's the best. I do think Raiders is objectively better. But for pure entertainment value for me, there is so much about Last Crusade that works. I just think it is so entertaining, so fun, and its bigger budget does wonders for it. Everything is bigger and more exciting, and I don't know. And Sean Connery is great. So
Fair enough.
that's my favorite Indiana Jones movie, and I hold to that.
That's fair. Remember when we watched Scooby-Doo Zombie Island together for your birthday?
I do.
It was a good time.
That was a great birthday. One of my favorite birthdays recently.
Oh, it was good. It was a good time.
That's great.
All right.
Moving on for you.
Onward. Okay, so at 35, we have a recent one, which I have proclaimed to everyone who would listen that it was the best film of 2021, called Pig, starring our boy Nicolas Cage. It's so good, all right? It is such an incredible film.
I'm so excited to watch this.
You really need to, man. It is so good. It is so stinking good. I still can't believe the just absolute nonsense that happened with the 2021 nominations last year, that Nicolas Cage didn't get a Best Actor nom. Freaking this movie didn't get a Best Picture nom. Just nothing. When it's legit one of the best movies I've seen in a long time. Okay, especially considering, if I'm not mistaken, it's one of only 2 films that have come out in the past like 5 years that's on my list. I think Us and Ant-Man and the Wasp are the other 2 most recent ones.
Yeah.
So, like, for real, this movie is so good. It is incredible. Highly recommended. It's one of my favorite. I mean, obviously, it's one of my favorites. It's on this list, but
Right.
one of my favorite films.
I'm excited to watch it.
You really should, man. It's so good. After that, we got Star Trek Beyond at 34. I adore Star Trek Beyond. Just straight up, for me, it just feels like a long version of an original series episode with like a million times the budget. It's just a ton of fun. It's weird, it's goofy, it's dumb, but so
Right.
was the original series, you know?
Right.
And I enjoyed it. It's the movie that really got me into Star Trek. Because before that I just kind of knew about it and I think I'd seen Star Trek Into Darkness. But I didn't really click with that one because it's only mid.
Mhm.
But I decided to go see Star Trek Beyond because it looks good, it looks fun. And yeah, no, one of my all-time favorite movies was seen that day. It's incredible. It's just a good time, you know.
It is. I will say it is a good time.
After that, we got Much Ado About Nothing making its first
Incredible.
reappearance. Like Darren was saying, this is also the movie that made me realize that hey, Shakespeare's kind of cool. He's actually a good writer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, so all the actors are great. I was watching Buffy at the time, and so I recognized a whole
Oh
bunch of
wow.
the faces.
Yeah, I bet that was awesome.
Having seen, let's see, because that's why I wasn't watching Agents of Shield, so I knew who Clark Gregg was. I'd been seeing Buffy and Angel, so I knew who Amy Acker was, and Alex Denisoff, and
Mhm.
like pretty much everyone, Nathan Fillion, and
Oh man.
so that was a lot of fun. But it's just a really fun film. It's really well made and a good time. After that, we have Knives Out, which I'm so excited for Glass Onion to come
Oh, oh, I know.
out. It's just a ton of fun. I love murder mysteries. I have since I was in like 10th grade, I think. And so getting to see this one, which is not only just a ton of fun, it's got that quirky Agatha Christie spirit to it, but also being like a fun, like almost a deconstruction of murder mysteries on their
Yeah.
own. It's ugh. It's a ton of fun.
And great performances all
So
around.
good. Everyone is so good in that movie. Oh my goodness. And then after that, well documented on this channel is Hellboy 2: The Golden Army. As you guys know, I love the Hellboy movies. I love the character of Hellboy. He is the bestest. He is the bestest boy, even if he's a, a demon boy and gonna bring about the apocalypse. That's fine with me. He's baby,
His
okay?
baby. We love him.
On that note, though, I hate both versions of Baby Hellboy at the beginning of 1 and 2.
They're so bad.
He's terrifying. They haunt my dreams. I don't like them. But yeah, Hellboy 2 Golden Army is the best of the two in my opinion. Although again, as I mentioned when we talked about watching the first Hellboy, I need to rewatch Hellboy 2 to compare it because I honestly found myself really enjoying Hellboy 1 this past time. A lot more than I remember.
I
So,
do really like Hellboy 1. Do like him. All right. Now I need your thoughts on this. Because next up, for 35, 34, 33, I have the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
okay.
With Two Towers, the first one of those. Two Towers is my favorite of these. I can't explain why, but it's just my favorite. So I'm not going to just include this one, but I also feel like these three they're just one.
Yeah, no.
And so I'm thinking, would it be cheating if I just like put Two Towers here or any one of them realistically, any one of them, and just used it as a placeholder for the Lord of the Rings trilogy?
Uh,
Because I feel like that would open up two more slots. And
yeah.
I know there are other movies that I could include that I feel deserve to be in or among my top 50.
Hmm. I
So I don't
mean,
know. Is
if
it
you want,
cheating?
I'm not sure. I don't particularly think so. No.
I might do that because the Lord of the Rings movies are the perfect trilogy. And there's no way I was going to make a top 50 list without including them. And where they are on the list, I think, is relatively unimportant. They just deserve to be there.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Anyway, so the Lord of the Rings trilogy, I might take two of them out and just use one of them as a placeholder for the trilogy itself. But we'll see. I may or may not. At 32, I have Amadeus, which is one of the first, like, really is the first time that I watched a movie and really admired it as a work of art. I admired its craftsmanship, its performances. It was artsy. It wasn't just about the entertainment value, which pretty much up until then, like, I appreciated lots of different aspects of movies and I was starting to get into film. But Amadeus was the first one that I watched that really just showed me how impressive and how much of a conduit for storytelling movies are. And so it's fairly low on my list because I've seen a lot of movies and there's a lot of movies I'd put above it. But man, watching Amadeus for the first time, the director's cut specifically, was truly a life-changing experience for me. And it really started to make me appreciate the artsmanship, if that's a word. I don't know if artsmanship is a word. Craftsmanship
Yeah.
of cinema. So that one is just really near and dear to my heart. And I do think it is objectively a phenomenal movie.
Very good. I still haven't seen it yet, even though I own the director's cut on Vudu.
It's awesome. And then Ghostbusters 2. This isn't spoilers for anything. Ghostbusters 1 is my all-time favorite movie. I love Ghostbusters. And Ghostbusters 2, really, I know a lot of people have pretty mixed feelings. They don't think it's as good. But really, I think it only loses it in the last third of the movie. I think up until then, it is just as good as the original.
I was surprised to find that I pretty much completely agree with you.
It's really in the last third of it that it gets it jumps the shark a little bit.
A little bit. But up until then,
it is just very Ghostbusters. And then even the last third, it is so much fun.
And it's still very Ghostbusters.
It's very Ghostbusters. So I absolutely adore Ghostbusters 2. It's got to be in my top 50.
Very good, as it should be. It's honestly really good.
Yeah, I had so much fun watching it with you. I had a great time showing you that movie.
I'm glad. I had a good time watching it. I had no idea it was like that good,
yeah. No, and I was so glad that I got to be the one to show you. I was so glad I got to watch it with you.
Aw, wholesome. All right.
We are nothing but wholesome.
That's true. We aren't, like, what is even happening?
I don't know, man. It must be true love.
Oh, very good. I agree. I actually agree with that 100%. All right. Now on to, I believe, my last 5 for this episode. If I'm not mistaken. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So for number 30, I have Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, which is my favorite Mission Impossible film. It used to be my favorite Tom Cruise film, but we'll get to the actual one next week. But I mean,
yeah,
if this is your first episode, then you might not know what it is, but otherwise, you guys, know what it is.
Yeah, I'm excited to get to that.
So I part of it, I think, is that I saw this. This is the only one I've seen in theaters, but I don't know. There's just something about the way it just moves, like from set piece to set piece, and how the story goes, and it's really, I don't know. It's really
it's
good.
clean.
It's
clean.
so clean cut and just fast paced. It rocks. I love Rogue Nation.
I do too. For me, it's a setup to what I think is the best Mission Impossible Fallout,
which is completely valid.
And
Fallout is incredible.
And honestly, I only think Rogue Nation is a step down because it doesn't have Henry Cavill yet, but that's more of a personal preference. But really, those two films back to back You don't get much better.
Nope.
And we've talked about this on this podcast, how excited we both are for the future of Mission Impossible.
Oh, I'm so excited for Dead Reckoning Part 1 and 2.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be so good. Okay. After that, we have Rogue One, which I think you guys might know is my favorite Star Wars movie. I recognize it's probably not necessarily the best Star Wars movie. I'm a sucker for good visuals, and Rogue One has the best visuals out of, I think, any of the Star Wars movies. It
I'm
is
inclined to agree.
so pretty to look at. And I don't know, I think the story is kind of fun. I like the characters a lot, even if some of them don't get enough screen time to really be developed, like the pilot guy whose name I can't remember.
Brody.
Brody, yeah, like Brody. But Jin and Chira Imwe and K2SO and Andor, especially now that he's getting his own TV show,
Oh yeah.
are so fun. I love them. I love them all. K2SO especially. I would die for K2SO.
Oh, absolutely. Alan Tudyk is so flawless.
He's so good in that role. I would die for any of Alan Tudyk's roles if I'm to be completely honest here.
Oh
Well,
no, I agree.
not for his villain in Wreck-It Ralph. But other than that, I probably maybe I would anyways, just because I know meta-wise that it's Alan Tudyk behind that mask. Who knows?
Yeah. No.
Who's to say? After that, we got Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which I have a lot of thoughts about on this one, partially because Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the book, is one of my all-time favorite books. I loved reading it as a kid. I have very distinct memories of watching it on my dad's PSP as a young child because we had Spider-Man 2, which was PG-13, so I couldn't watch it at the time, and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I could watch Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, so I have a very distinct memory of watching it on his old PSP as a kid. But it's fun. It really captures the energy of Douglas Adams' work without being like a one-to-one
right
copy of it, which I think, like just like Detective Pikachu, is the better call to do, to not just adapt a thing, because generally people are going to be upset with it, but by capturing the energy and passion of a thing but still making it your own, it's very good. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he did work on the script still. I think he died before it was finished,
right,
but he did like help write it and counsel on it. I'm not sure. I'd have to look into that to be sure, because I don't know for sure, but I think so. Either way.
And
go ahead.
I agree. I just think it just captures his energy great.
Yeah.
So whether or not he worked on it, it is very much a Douglas Adams piece.
Oh, for sure. And yeah, I don't know. I love it. I love it. After that, we have the other horror film on my list, The Babadook, which is legitimately one of the only films I've ever seen to legitimately creep me out. In fact, The Babadook and Us are the two films that have legitimately creeped me out, which is probably why they're on this list. Most other ones are just kind of like, can confirm. Side note, Douglas Adams did help write Hitchhikers.
He did?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Probably not like the ending script because he died in 2001, but he did help write it. Anyways.
Sure.
Because most horror movies I've seen, they're like weird and gross and gory and stuff, but they're not, most of them haven't been like creepy in the sense that I want them to be creepy.
Right.
But The Babadook is. That one scene of the mom reading the Babadook book at the beginning is legit the creepiest thing I've ever seen in my entire life, bar none. It is horrifying and I hate it, and I squeal with terror every time I watch it, which I still haven't watched this month, and I need to. That movie,
I need to watch it.
It's one of my favorites. Did you not get to watch it with us last year?
No, I didn't.
That's a shame.
I know, because I want to watch it. My wife just isn't a fan of it.
She's not.
She thinks it's kind of dumb.
The Babadook.
I thought we knew this, but
I don't think I did. He's an LGBT icon.
Oh, I'm well aware of that.
Oh my gosh.
I have nothing but respect for that. But I'm excited to see it because I think I don't know. I'm curious to see what I think because you love it, and
I
then she
love
just
it.
thinks it's kind of meh. And so I'm curious what I'll think.
She
So I'm excited to watch it.
tell her she's objectively wrong. I'll
Um,
accept some of her other opinions on films. This one she's just straight up wrong on. I'm sorry.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sure
Don't.
she'll.
Oh, you can tell her that if you want to.
Oh, I'm sure she'll listen to this, and I'm sure she'll have
Oh,
her
she'll
thoughts.
find out soon enough and message me
Yeah,
about it. Very good.
I'm sure.
I'm preparing my statements as we speak.
I don't know. I don't know. You might get a pass after the Lost Boys.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Bliss. And interview
probably.
with a vampire.
Oh my gosh, she went feral for that.
Oh,
You
I'm
should have
glad.
seen her like squeal.
I'm glad. When I saw it at DI, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to get this and send
And
it to him.
yeah, she's dying to watch it now.
I bet.
So
I'm sorry.
no, soon enough I'll yeah. So soon enough I'll be able to give my thoughts on it too, as I haven't seen it yet. But
I'm intrigued to
I'm
hear.
sure by the end of this week I will.
Yeah, I bet so too. Well, okay, then yeah, you can tell her, or she'll find out that she's wrong on the Babadook, and I'll pray that I have amassed enough goodwill to not face
Is
any wrath.
and so is it a I don't know. Is it never mind. I don't know what I was gonna say. Is it a hate crime to not like Babadook since he's an LGBT icon?
Yes, actually, you know what? You're right. It is.
Like, I don't know. Are they homophobic for not liking Babadook?
That's gonna create an awkward position for your wife.
I agree. But I'm curious to see how she reacts.
Yeah, ask her that then. That's the
I
most
will.
important question.
I will. I'm going to bring that up as soon as we're done recording.
Very good, very good. All right. And then the last one is Casablanca. It's one of only like two like old films I have on my list here. And that's because unlike say um Citizen Kane, which don't get me wrong, is a very good film that's not does not live up to the hype still.
Mhm.
Casablanca is legitimately one of the best films of all time, just like people say it is. Like
It really
legitimately.
is.
It
I
is
agree
so
100%.
good. It is so stinking good. Like, oh my goodness, I cannot even begin to fully express how just incredibly good Casablanca is. I love it. I think it's fantastic. It gets a shout out in La La Land, so you know it's good.
You know it's good.
I love it. I love it. It's great.
Absolutely. All right. And then let's finish off here too. So for me, at 30, I've got the Goonies.
Which is also a movie I still haven't gotten around to seeing yet.
I love Goonies.
Which is also, funnily enough, one I own and have not gotten around to seeing yet.
Interesting. So and this we'll get back into this next week. But here, like from this movie, from 30 up until maybe I don't know, these next 10, 15 films or so, I feel like are almost completely interchangeable. Like the position does not matter on most of these. Most of them are just some of my favorite, most of them 80s, just flicks. So got Goonies here, Back to the Future.
Oh, so good.
And once again, Thought One Out is really just a stand-in for the Back to the Future trilogy, Back to the Future, specifically 1 and 2. I do like 3 a lot. I think 3 is great.
I really like 3.
But 1 and 2 are so iconic and some of the best 80 movies ever made. Or some of the best movies made in the 80s. So Back to the Future, Jurassic Park, which I'm such a huge fan of. We've talked about this. I love Jurassic Park. And it's unfortunate that the rest of the movies struggled so much, both in the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World trilogies. But Jurassic Park is, I just like dinosaurs. What can I say?
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And Jeff Goldblum.
And what more do you want?
What more do you want? And then, as expressed earlier, Beetlejuice. This is my favorite Burton film.
Which is valid.
I don't know. I love it.
It's really good.
I love it. And then Fifth Element, which I just have such a soft spot for it. And I think it is such an over the top and quirky, fun sci-fi action flick that is so much fun to watch. And it is undoubtedly my favorite Gary Oldman role.
Even more than Kung Fu Panda 2.
Slightly. I love Gary Oldman. I think he's I'd put him in like top 10 best actors of our time. I just think he's incredible, but this is my favorite role of his. I just love Fifth Element.
That is fair. I infamously did not like it that
Infamously did not like Fifth Element as much as I thought you did. So,
but that's
there we have it.
Here nor there.
There you have it. I'm really excited for our next episode whenever we get around to recording it, because we're going to get into our top 25 movies of all time, and I am so excited to talk about some of these.
Honestly, me freaking too.
Oh yeah, and your top 25 is. I'm excited for your top 25 as well.
This is where the fun begins.
Because, a little bit of a spoiler, I will say this, but I love that the next one you're going to talk about is Monsters vs. Aliens. I am so here for it.
Fun fact about me, that used to be my second favorite film of all time. No, third. It was my third favorite film of all time. It's fallen quite a bit since then. But it used to be one of my all-time favorites, and it still is one of my all-time favorites.
Oh, absolutely. I'm so excited.
Another slight spoiler alert, we have Tron Legacy in the exact
same spot.
That is weird.
Whoa. Oh man, this is gonna be so much fun.
Yeah, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. All right.
So stay tuned. Look forward to next episode, because we are looking forward to next episode.
We are. Well, once again, we hope you guys have just the bestest time of your life, frankly.
Because we have the bestest time of our lives.
We've had the time of our lives, and nothing will bring us down. There's a Miley Cyrus song that goes like that. I don't remember how it goes though, obviously, because I just tried to sing it and I sang it bad. But yeah,
if you want all of the spoilers, then follow us on Letterboxd. Follow Shadow Spider 004 and follow Jetpack Cat 0. And you can look at these lists. They're public.
And I have a lot of
And
lists.
You have a lot of lists that are a lot of fun to go through.
I think most of them are public. I have my personal prestige watch list private, but I think other than that, yeah, you can read my ranked of this year, my ranked of last year, my Tom Cruise ranked, my Resident Evil ranked, my Edgar Wright ranked, my MCU ranked. I know.
I need to go through. I need to spend some time on some lists when I'm bored.
They're fun. I like making them. Yeah, no, I have a ton of my Batman ranked. Spoiler about my Batman ranked. Birdman is my favorite Batman film.
And I noticed, and I quite liked that.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Thanks, of course, again for joining us and making it this far with us. This is a longer episode, and I'm sure the next one will be long as well.
Yeah.
But really, we just have fun talking. We have fun making these. And if you have fun listening, then, all the better.
Yeah, we do this for ourselves, not for you guys.
No, we really do.
But if you happen to also enjoy the content, then power to you.
Power to you. Yeah, if you like it, then that's your problem, I guess.
That's your problem. Side note, I just added Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings to my list, and now it is perfectly symmetrical. 4 movies on every row.
Oh, gorgeous.
So we're cooking today, boys. We are cooking it today. Well, as always, it's been a good time.
Been a great time.
It's been a great time. It's been the time of our lives, and
Best of
nothing's gonna bring
times
us down. It was
and
the
not the
worst
worst of time.
times.
No.
Oh, this
Well,
is
oh,
awkward,
yeah.
actually.
It's just the start of the week, so it's not been the worst times yet.
Oh, yeah, that's still to come. We haven't gone there yet,
Yeah,
but we will
we will.
soon enough.
Stay tuned next week
We'll give you the big bad update next
for the
week.
worst of times.
This episode was the best of times. Next episode is the worst of times. So get yourselves prepared and loaded for that one. Anyway,
Okay, real quick.
yes.
I don't see Nightmare on Elm Street on yours.
Yeah, it used to be, but then I took it off. That was one of the ones I was
Interesting.
talking about that I'm like,
Interesting.
I don't feel as strongly about this film anymore. So I took it off.
Interesting.
It's still one of my all-time favorites though, but I wasn't feeling it quite as strong. It would probably be on the list if I had a full 50, but it didn't feel like it should be on my top 50 of all-time movies, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from.
Yeah. So I took it off. I don't remember what other ones I used to have, but yeah.
I look forward to it. Well, thanks again for joining us.
We hope you've had a good time. And prepare yourselves for the worst time next week.
And stay tuned.
Trust me when I say this, you're not ready. All right. Well, we'll see y'all. Follow us on Letterboxd. Donate to our Patreon.
Yeah.
And change.org.
And watch some movies.
And watch some movies. Tell us about the movies you want to watch this week.
Yeah.
We'll maybe read them. Who knows? Just
Maybe
keep
even watch
commenting in the absurd hope that one day we actually read and respond. And then you can live off that high for at least 2 months until you realize you've been living a pretty empty existence trying to follow us, as we're people you'll never actually know.
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
Well, on that note, enjoy your week.
We'll see y'all later. If it'll let me end it. Come on.
Oh.